Thank you for joining us. Brad Pullis here. I'm the Associate Dean of Students at Dougherty Family College. We are excited to have your scholars joining us here starting next week for Summer Enrichment Program. We've got a bunch of information here for you today that we hope will be helpful and not too overwhelming. We'll do a welcome from our Dean, Buffy Smith. We'll talk a little bit about summer enrichment programs so you have everybody has an idea of what to expect from that. We'll talk about academics at DFC, wellness and well-being, financial aid, a little bit about supporting your scholar, and then we'll finish with some closing remarks. And of course, we'll have some time at the end if you have any questions that you would like to ask. So with that, I would like to introduce our amazing dean, Dr. Buffy Smith. Buffy Smith has been a part of Dougherty Family College since the very beginning, and much of the structure and everything about DFC is built on Dean Smith's research and experience. So we're very fortunate to have her as the leader of our college. Some of you may have heard her speak before, and it's our pleasure to have her join us to welcome you today. So Dean Smith.
Thank you, Dean Pullis. I am thrilled and delighted to be in your presence this evening. I want to say welcome, and I want each of you to know that we are grateful that you have decided to entrust your scholar with us. I want you to also know that you might be feeling a little anxious, and that's okay. You might wonder what will be next for your scholar. How will they treat my scholar? I want to assure you that the faculty, the staff of Dougherty Family College are the most committed, dedicated, talented, brilliant, creative, caring, and loving group of professionals who will work hard every day to ensure that your scholar graduates, earn their associate degree, and have a smooth transition to earn their bachelor's degree. Rest assured that we're going to do everything. We're going to do our part to make sure your scholar is successful. I want you to have some peace in that reality, that we're in this together, that we're about to create a very special partnership. You are now part of our Ohana. You're part of the DFC family. And as part of being an Ohana member, we're committed to making sure that, yes, the transition from high school to college is a difficult one, but your scholar will not do that alone. They have you and they have us. And if we work together, they will be very, very successful. We're committed to making sure that your scholar doesn't just survive college, but thrives in college. And that's why we're coming today, to share with you strategies, approaches, good habits that will help you thrive in college. So part of the partnership is that we need you to help us reinforce to your brilliant scholar common expectations that will help them thrive in college, and to utilize all of the resources and supports that we have to offer your scholar. I'll leave you with 3 key things that I always like to emphasize to members of our Ohana, our partners, our loved ones. First, In terms of your scholar being able to thrive in college, they have to be proactive and take an active role in their learning process. And I would encourage you to please reinforce with us that your scholars should commit to working, doing homework 15 to 20 hours a week. That's roughly 3 hours a day to thrive in college. That is what is required. Reading counts. It's homework. Please quote me. Please tell your scholar every day they should be doing homework to thrive in college. 2, please encourage your scholars not to work more than 20 hours a week at their job to thrive in college. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a first-generation college student. I received public assistance. I grew up in public housing. So I'm not asking you to not work. I understand the financial responsibilities and that our scholars have to work and support family. But I am asking you to think of this long-term, because the sacrifices that they make now and work less than 20 hours now, this will benefit them in terms of their future, the future and success of the family, and for them to be those transformational leaders in our community. It is worth the sacrifice. And then 3, you chose Dougherty Family College because of the rich resources and support services that we have. Having access to those resources is one thing, but fully utilizing those resources, that is what we're asking you to do. Staff and faculty are committed to building positive, strong relationships, but it requires a partnership. It requires scholars to make an investment in those relationships. So I would ask you as a loved one to please reinforce that your scholars should be making strong connections with their staff, with their faculty, and yes, with their peers. That's part of their social support network as well. And to utilize all of our academic support and social services. Mental health, financial aid, transfer, college persistence, and our tutoring services. Utilizing executive skills, time management workshops, study skill workshops. If your scholar does not take advantage of all of these resources, they're not fully maximizing being part of our Ohana. They're not fully maximizing what it means to be a scholar. Please, as our partner, let us make a commitment that in 2 years, if we work together, if your scholar is committed to doing the work themselves, we will celebrate in person a beautiful graduation. This journey is going to have some difficult moments. But what we make a promise as Ohana is that we don't have to do this journey alone. So we're in this together. You have laid a beautiful foundation. We are going to build on that foundation. We are going to work together and get our beloved scholar across to the finish line. And they will graduate. And they will be those impactful, transformational leaders in our society. Welcome, families. Welcome, loved ones. Welcome to your new home, Ohana. Now, it is my distinct pleasure and honor, and with great pride, to introduce to you, you heard him at the beginning, but this is our Associate Dean of Students. When your scholar comes to the Summer Enrichment Program, this is the dean that is working with them now, that is going to begin to lay that foundation of what it means to be a Ohana, that strong sense of belonging. No one's gonna care for your scholar as much as our Dean Pullis. So please, let's welcome our Associate Dean of Students, Brad Pullis.
Thank you, Buffy. Appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. And again, I'm Brad, Associate Dean of Students at Dougherty Family College. And I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking a little bit about Summer Enrichment Program, giving everybody a quick overview so that you can feel hopefully a little bit better about knowing what to expect. So our goals for Summer Enrichment Program are as follows. We want to create a sense of belonging for our new scholars. We definitely want to provide the knowledge that will prepare them for the first day of classes at DFC. We will spend time introducing them to faculty, staff, and supports that are available at DFC. We've got an amazing team. Some of them you will hear from tonight, and those people will be around over the next 2 weeks to support your scholar. We want to establish expectations and standards of college. Like Dean Smith mentioned, there are some differences when it comes to the change from high school to college. And so we'll begin to introduce some of those expectations and also those habits and behaviors that will help foster success. So you will see on the left on your screen is kind of a glance at week 1 of our schedule. You'll notice that it's a pretty busy schedule. We'll be busy with the scholars over the next couple of weeks while they're here with us. And a bunch of information, too much to kind of go through here on the schedule. But I wanted to give a couple of shout outs regarding some of the important things. One, we'll have our program starting on Monday, August 19th. We will be on the Minneapolis campus, just to make it perfectly clear. Although we will have some time that we're spending with the students on the St. Paul campus, each day we will be beginning on the Minneapolis campus because that's where all of their classes will be taken during the year. So all of the summer enrichment program, for the most part, takes place on the Minneapolis campus. I would encourage you and your scholars, have your scholars check their email. They should have received an email from me with a campus map, with parking information, with our check-in location, and a bunch of other details regarding starting off on Monday at Summer Enrichment Program. I did want to highlight that breakfast and lunch each day are provided. And so if a student wants to get here early, and you're welcome to come for breakfast each day. It's a part of your meal plan. And so we would just ask that if you do plan to come for breakfast, try to get here early enough that you can finish your breakfast and be at our starting location each day by 9 o'clock so that we can start promptly on time. And then I wanted to mention too that transportation on day 1, will need to be provided. So, we will be giving scholars their bus passes, their unlimited use for the semester bus passes on day 1. So they will have those and be able to use those from every day thereafter. But for the first day, we would like to make sure everybody knows that, a scholar will need transportation on that first day. quick glance at week two. Week two, we will be going through Wednesday, the 28th, and then we'll wrap things up, and that'll be the last day of SEP. And then there will be a week off between the last day of SEP and the first day of classes, which will be Wednesday, September 4th. So we'll take a little break. You know, there'll be some time for scholars to ask questions or you know, get support with anything they might need before that first day. But the summer enrichment program officially will end at the end of the day on Wednesday, the 28th. So a couple of quick reminders, if you, you know, take anything away from what I mentioned, the important thing to remember is that I sent an email with more information about parking, a campus map, check-in location. So please look for an email from me that should have been sent to your scholar. We have been asking scholars to pick up their UST ID card from the St. Paul campus. They can still do that tomorrow. And the reason we ask is just so that it takes up less time. You know, we've got almost 160 some students who are going to be starting. And so if, you know, that's one less step for students to do when they get here, it'll just take down some of the wait time for everybody. So if possible, if your scholar has not picked up their UST ID card, there's still a chance to do that tomorrow. If for some reason a scholar can't pick it up on the St. Paul campus, they will be able to get an ID card here. We just would want them to check and keep their eyes open for an email that they should have received from admissions with some additional details and instructions on that. Students can be checking in again on Monday starting at 8 a.m. Plan transportation ahead. And there's really no need to bring anything except for a positive attitude and a willingness to meet some new people, have some fun, and get ready to learn. So a few people that graciously shared some introduction slides with us today are people that your scholars are going to get to know really well. And those are your faculty mentors. So each scholar at DFC gets a faculty mentor who provides a ton of support throughout both years while they're at DFC. They're kind of a go-to person for any of our scholars, and they can help direct scholars to the supports that they need, any kind of advice. They support them throughout their 2 years with navigating college and you know, really asking them important questions that relate to careers and all sorts of things. So we wanted to spend a few minutes to introduce those folks because they'll be working closely with your students. So this is Katia Colon-LaCroix. She is our college persistence counselor at DFC. And we asked all of the faculty and faculty mentors to give some advice. What is something that students at DFC, in your experience, have done to be successful? And so what Katia shares is that scholars who are successful and happy most often take care of themselves and prioritize their overall well-being. They will use the resources they have at their fingertips and remember that college is for learning. You don't need to be perfect at everything. Take every challenge as a chance to grow and give yourself grace to figure things out.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah McCann. I'm Associate Dean of Academics, and I'll meet you in a little bit more formally, but I'm tag teaming with Dean Fullis to talk about our mentors. Regina Henares was born in the Philippines. She is our psychology professor. She got her PhD from Purdue, and we're all really excited about her joining us. So this is going to be her first year at DFC, but she is quite an expert in mentoring, especially mentoring students with marginalized identities. So she's excited and ready to meet your students and ready to work with them to take this next step in their lives. She stresses communication and really wants and welcomes students reaching out to her with anything that they're facing, and she can help connect them with the supports that they want and desire to help their learning.
All right, back to me. So This is Professor Michelle Stillinger. She teaches environmental geology at DFC, which is a second-year course. But for Michelle, she mentions that a successful student isn't always an A student. So not always looking for perfection, but the student who learns and grows and engages in class and participates in class. She mentions that she looks forward to teaching you all about the amazing planet that we live on.
Amir Mohammed is beloved at DFC. He teaches public speaking, also known as communications. So if you have Amir, you're going to get a really engaged faculty mentor, and you're going to absolutely love your time with him. He really encourages students to bring their whole and authentic selves forward, to try their best, to work hard, and know that ultimately they are seen as the wonderful, dignified people that they are in his mentoring spaces.
And this is Professor Tim Burns. Professor Burns teaches a course called The Person and the Good, which is a philosophy course that is taken by DFC scholars. And Professor Tim's advice, or things that scholars have done to be successful, he says, students who succeed in my class are rarely, if ever, absent. So showing up at each day, ready to learn is a huge component of that success piece that Dean Smith has mentioned.
Tandon Brecky is another one of our awesome mentors. He teaches our capstone course at DFC called Introduction to Justice and Peace Studies, where he brings in a tremendous number of community organizations, and students do action research where they pair with a community organization to learn about how to bring in justice in our community. And that scholarly behavior for him, combined with a lot of research experience, and he loves it when students are fully engaged in the learning process. And so if you have Dr. Brecky as your mentor, you're in for a real treat.
Great. And now it's my pleasure to give a proper introduction to Dean Sarah McCann, who is our Associate Dean of Academics at DFC. Dean McCann has been around DFC since the very beginning, so we're fortunate to be able to rely on her wisdom and experience teaching theology at Dougherty Family College for the first several years. So please join me. I know it's kind of, you're on Zoom, but give us a warm welcome for Dean Sarah McCann.
Thanks, everybody. It's really good to be here, and I'm so glad that I can meet you virtually before I meet your students on Monday more formally. So I'm here to talk just really briefly about academic expectations, and you'll find that I am reiterating everything that Dean Smith said. First of all, thank you for sending us your students. My own niece is headed off to college, the first one, and it is an anxiety-provoking time for families, self-included. But we are here to welcome and already love your student and know that there's a reason they're here and that they belong here. So first off, thank you as parents for trusting us with your beloved children. I used to teach high school before college, and one thing that I share with students right away is that college is very different, right? As Dean Smith mentioned, you should see your students reading all the time. And at the beginning, it's going to be tough because it is kind of like running into a wall a little bit in terms of expectations and homework. And it isn't that college is going to get easier, but you'll see your students' capacity to complete work and understand it growing. So if your students can hang in there and really work hard and do the reading and show up those habits, life is going to get progressively more manageable as the semester goes on. We really don't want students to fall into a pit. So if you see your students working hard and frustrated because it's hard, that's good. If you see your students not doing the work, that should be a signal of more concern. Hard isn't a problem. Avoiding it is more of a challenge. So those habits that matter. Oftentimes our students come in a little bit afraid of the work. That's normal and that's okay. Please work with them on this. Let them know that we will work with them and we want to work with them through that fear and that will become more manageable. And time management is typically the other obstacle that derails our students. So if they come home and they're on their phones instead of doing their work and time slips away, that's going to present some challenges. Again, you'll hear this message stressed over and over again. It isn't a student with straight A's that's necessarily successful here. It's the student that keeps showing up and doing the work. That's 100% true across the board, whether you come in with a C average, a D average, or an A average. You can also do a lot at home. And the biggest thing you can do is just to ask them about their homework, right? If 2 days in a row they don't have homework, ask them to show you their Canvas page, which is the course management system, which will show all of their work in up to the minute accuracy. And know that DFC faculty are committed to our students being ready to start college. We know they have strong home and community ties that will help them be successful here, and that they will draw on community knowledge during their time with us. So that is a resource for them. So your support means the world to us and to your students being successful here.
Great. Thank you, Dean McCann. I would now like to introduce a couple of key team members here at Dougherty Family College. Dr. Carla Gonzalez, who is our literacy specialist, and Professor Heather Eisenhagen, who is our math specialist. They are both beloved here at Dougherty Family College for the work and support that they provide students. And so I would like to turn it over to them to talk a little bit more about some of those academic supports that scholars and families can expect at DFC.
Thanks, Brad. Hi, everyone. I'm Carla. You can just call me Carla. Literacy specialist seems like a fancy word, but it just means really the reading and writing specialist to help. What I do is I co-run with Professor Eisenhagen the Resource Center. So Scholars Resource Center is the place where you can get tutoring for all subjects that we have at DFC. So one thing I want to talk about, especially for family members, is this idea that maybe the big difference between high school and college is that in college, going to seek resources, going to a tutoring center for writing, especially, and for mathematics or to statistics is pretty much part of the college going culture. So maybe in high school, you could have been like, okay, well, I'm just going to just get it done and move on. The type of assignments and reading that you'll do in college really is preparing you for a future career. So that's something to keep in mind as you think about the assignments and the design of the courses. That's really the fact that you get to choose to be in college and you're doing it to learn some critical thinking skills for your future career. And so writing, I just want to say, is a practice, just like mathematics or any kind of fitness or whatever you're into as far as a skill. So it's common practice to see a writing specialist to help, especially that first year, to transition from high school writing into college writing, which is a totally different, really purpose. But don't fear, we're here. I've been in the biz for like 20 years now, and I've been working at DFC for 5 years. I'm a first generation college student. I was the first in my family, a Latino family, to go to college and first to get a master's, first to get a PhD. So I recognize even today when I talk to my dad, I think he still has like flashbacks to when he went to my orientation and he was like, what? What was happening? And so I can definitely remember the double stress of parent and student. But what we have is pretty much, I try to schedule and do all the workshops to the benefit of the student, meeting the student at where they're at. We have reading, writing, tutoring where you could just drop in. It's located centrally where all the classes are. So that's a unique benefit of DFC compared to other campuses. You might have to go across campus. Here, we're just right there. So you can just get right in. You can also do it by appointments. We do Zoom. I do a thing called written feedback where, I'm in a jam, I don't have time to meet. You can just send it our way. We'll give you some general feedback. I go to all the different classrooms to provide support for big essays, really for any reason. And then this year we are doing a DFC Academic Advantage program for the first 5 weeks, which we'll talk about. I guess I'll pair that, Heather, when you're talking about kind of the recitations and that kind of thing. So I want to say welcome. We're here for you. I'm happy to help. I do see this as a vocation. I remember how difficult it was to transition into college reading and writing, even as a strong high school, reader and writer. So we're there for you. And please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out, to seek us. I mean, you could find me anywhere. I will come and meet you. That's just how I roll. And I guess I'll pass it to Heather, who's also amazing. Just FYI, she's the math guru.
Thanks, Carla. I think Carla's talked a lot about our resource center, which is great. I'm not going to repeat all of that. But I'm basically her counterpart here, right? So I work with students in math and science. And the first thing that I would say about math here is that a lot of our students come in a little bit anxious about math. I get it. It's kind of scary sometimes, but I 100% believe that every student coming in can be successful in math, no matter what you did in high school for math. We have lots of resources to help you. And I'll just go through some of the things that you can do. Obviously, you can come into our SRC. We've got drop-in appointments. You can make an appointment specifically with a tutor. We have a lot of tutors that are also DFC students or DFC grads, so they have been through this program. They understand it. We offer evening and weekend tutorings if you can't make it during the day. So those are all online. We offer what I think is a really cool thing, these recitation sections for both math and biology. What those are is a once a week commitment that your student would make to work with a small group led by a peer tutor to really get into the nitty-gritty of math problem solving. Most students who have taken this program really have found it very useful for them. Their confidence increases, their problem solving skills increase, and they get to know other students, right? Because it's open to people from all different cohorts. So really a great opportunity. They need to register that first week of class for it. I will be in the classes. I will tell them about it. The tutors will tell them about it. You can't escape it. Please register for it. So that's available in both math and in biology. And I am also in all of the math classes along with the math instructor. You get kind of a 2-for-1 with us, which I think is exciting. We also offer a lot of workshops and review sessions. Please come on in. We love talking math. Look how happy those students look doing math right there.
Yeah, and that's kind of
glad to meet you. Oops, sorry.
Say, and that's a pro tip for what people don't recognize is the kind of how we have data that shows that when people use our resources, I mean, I can't remember how big of a drop it is, but like all of the scholars who get our excellent scholarship, which is the 3.5 fluoride thing that you can apply for in your sophomore year, 100% of them have used our resources. And I will say it's not something that you have to spend hours doing. For a writing assignment, you can drop in for like 5 minutes and we can just talk through the assignment and then you can be on your way. So it's not as tedious as one might think, and just those little moments to get you on the right track will be kind of the difference between spending 2 hours looking at something or just spending 10 minutes with us and getting it going.
The dream team, for sure. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez and Professor Eisenhagen.
So now we're going to hit you with something a little different. As much as we say partner with us, we cannot fully partner with you. And here is a big difference between high school and college that we think it's important for students and families, their parents and guardians to understand. And one is that according to our education laws, students have the right to privacy. Once they are in college, we will not reach out to family about a student's grades or behavior or tuition. So it's going to be silent on this end to you, parents. So in that vein, we recommend really working your relationships with your student to want to come to you if they're having a challenge or a problem, to talk it out so that you can be a support. But know that whatever's going on here, we cannot reach out to you unless one circumstance is met, and that is that your student chooses to fill out what is called a FERPA form, and that's related to educational records and privacy. It's a form I have, Dean Pullis, and the faculty mentors. So if a student said, you know, I really want my parents to be able to call a faculty member and just get a quick update, the student would request a FERPA form from one of us. We would give it to your student. They would sign it. They would indicate in that form what we are allowed to discuss with parents. So they may say, you can discuss my grades, but not my tuition payments. Okay. And then we can have those conversations that you would initiate with us. So do know that you will not hear from us. Everything you hear will be based on your students telling you what's going on, unless we have a FERPA. Most students do not fill out FERPA forms, but you certainly can if there is something you wish to be in touch with faculty or administration about.
Thank you, Dean McCann. So we're moving on with our program today, and I'm happy to introduce Angela Mendez Vanegas, who is our counselor and life skills coach at Dougherty Family College. Angela works with scholars on many things, and she's a trained family and marriage therapist with lots of great experience and all of the certifications and knowledge and all of that to support our scholars. So it's my pleasure to turn it over to Angela.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Yes, as Brad mentioned, my name is Angela Mendez Vanegas. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And I just kind of want to give a quick overview of the services that I provide. And the biggest piece that we provide is counseling here at Dougherty Family College. And what's nice about the counseling here is that it's free. So you don't have to worry about any type of payment. Students can utilize it as they need. I will share with students during our summer enrichment program how they can make appointments with me. And I also do walk-ins as well. Like, so students, sometimes if I have an availability, I'll leave my door open. Students can walk in if something were to come up. So besides the counseling, the other piece that I really do is the life skill aspect. So if students are needing support in locating housing, especially if there's like housing insecurity, homelessness, couch hopping, that kind of stuff happening, we can look to kind of get them connected and hopefully get them housed sooner. The other thing is health insurance. So if your child is trying to adult for the first time, maybe interested in getting access to healthcare, then I can support them in doing that as well. And also food resources. So, think of the counseling and life skills as like kind of a package of like the other things, the life things that comes up, especially given this developmental stage in their lives. They're really adjusting a lot to, that transition to being adults. So there's a lot of new things, I think, for them to discover along the way. There's some other things that we do as well as far as like emergency assistance funds for things that come up, and also connecting students to community mental health resources as well. And just to kind of give you an overview, so because I don't do any type of billing or, to insurance, what's nice about our services is that I'm not here to diagnose your student. I'm really here to connect them and support them in what they need. And if the student is wanting or needing like further assessment, I'm going to help them get connected so they can get those things done. But for those of you that are unfamiliar with counseling and maybe have some hesitancy of like me coming in and telling them all these things that are wrong, and that's really not the purpose of what I do. It's really just to kind of support them in their adjustment or the stress that they're experiencing, and hopefully to keep them to the point where they're able to bounce back to where they feel comfortable. Okay. I think, as they mentioned, like I'm a marriage and family therapist, so family connection and family support, community support is just so crucial to overall, resiliency and also well-being and mental health. So, I just want families to know that I'm always going to support students in them building their connection to you. So, because I feel like you're there for the long term. I'm not. I'm here for the short term. So any way that I can support the bridge and them building that relationship, I'm going to do my best to do. And I think with that being said, I think it's important for you to consider your own adjustment. I mean, if this is your first child going into college and they're transitioning into adulthood, there's a good chance that you may have to adjust your parenting and consider what that looks like, because the way you're parenting them now is not the same way that you parent them when they were 5 years old, 10 years old, 13, whatever, what have you. You've done your own growth and adjustment as a parent as well. And that's not always easy. But just know that there's some stress that kind of comes with that. Um, and then the last thing is, for us and what we know is that kind of supporting students with their bounce back and resiliency is building connection. So we're always going to kind of take things through that lens of students wanting to get support. And sometimes that is starting with me, but hopefully they're able to do that with others. And there's a good chance, given the community environment that we have here at DFC, that they're going to have that as well. So I hope you know that we have your child's best interest in mind, and we're going to do our best to take care of them. So, thank you.
Thanks so much, Angela. Next, we are joined by our financial aid counselor, Padra Zhang. Students love Padra in the way that she can break down things that might be kind of confusing into simpler terms and make it understandable and getting them the resources that they need. So please join me in welcoming Padra.
Thank you, Brad. Hi, everyone. I'm Padra. I'm the financial aid counselor at DFC, here to talk with you all about financial aid and then also about student accounts and billing as well, too. So just a high overview. So by now, hopefully most of you have already seen or gotten a sense of the student's financial aid. When you look at their package, there are a few things on there. So if the student qualifies for any grants, there'll be grants. And then with loans, we offer it out to students, but students have the option to decline or accept, up to them. And then there's also that work study offer there as well too. So just a quick overview here is grants. You don't have to pay that back. That is automatically applied to the student's account. So you don't have to pay any of that back. But if the student does decide to take out loans, the student does have to pay that back 6 months after graduation. So just something to keep in mind. Usually the student is offered 2 different loans, the subsidized and unsubsidized loan. The subsidized loan doesn't accrue interest while the student is in school, but the unsub does. So just something to keep in mind. And I forgot to include work study on here, but work study, the student is able to earn those funds by working on campus. So the student doesn't earn that money upfront right away. They have to be working on campus, and then each time the student gets paid is how they would earn those work study funds. So again, when you look at the student's financial aid package, there are grants, the work study offer, and then the 2 different loans there as well. And then where can you find all of this, or where can the student find all of this? It is all housed in Murphy Online. So if you haven't claimed your account yet, students, please claim your account. This is how you'll see like your billing information, financial aid information, registration, and all of that. Everything is housed in Murphy Online. You can go next, Brad. Okay, so then here, so this is the overview of what the student will see when they are in that financial aid tab. So if the student is wanting to see okay, well, where can I find my financial aid offer? Is it ready? Or what do I need to do? How do I accept work study? How do I accept or decline loans? This is where the student would go. So where the student would do that would be under the offer tab. So this is just like, again, a very high overview of what Murphy House houses for our students. And that in the offer tab is where you'll see the student's financial aid package. All the grants are automatically applied again. And then there's that work study offer, and then the 2 loans that the student can choose to accept or decline there. And then next is a very general page for our student accounts and billing as well too. So this is under the student services on Murphy as well, different from financial aid. So when the student logs into their Murphy and goes to see their billing, this is the page that will come up. This will show, usually this shows like 2 different balances, but the balance that the student and family should focus on is the balance right under student account. Statements is just like a minimum requirement if you are minimum payment requirement if you are doing payments throughout the semester, but the balance would be what is the most accurate of what the student owes. So just something to keep in mind as well too, because students usually do get confused between the 2 different amounts. But the first balance, that number that you see up there, is the correct amount of what the student owes for the semester. So next, just to go over other important things. So Sarah went over FERPA, but with financial aid and with the business office, there are other things that if the parent wants more additional information on, they do have to go through different processes as well too. So with financial aid, business office, register office, anything of that sort, we do require the parent or guardian to be a proxy. And the way that gets set up is through the student's Murphy account. So again, if you haven't claimed your St. Thomas account, please do that, because Murphy houses everything for us. So the student is able to do that through the Murphy account, set up the parent guardian as a proxy. And then with the authorized user, this is through the business office. This is important, especially if you are wanting to make payments on the student's behalf, or just want to see what statements look like each month or each semester. The student does have to set up the parent or guardian as an authorized user as well too. So these are 2 things that are very important to have in place, especially for in terms of like financial aid or business office. Proxy is very important, because without that, we're not able to talk to you about anything financial related unless we have that on file. And then with the authorized user, if you're wanting to make payments on behalf of the student will have to set that up for you as well. So yeah, again, very high overview. If you have any questions about what I went over, feel free to reach out to me.
Okay.
All right, thank you so much, Padra. Again, Padra will be available, to your scholars, or if you have any questions later on down the road about any of that. So I will talk over the next few minutes about supporting your scholars. Some of the things that have been highlighted today will be things that you'll see over these next few slides, but I'm hoping to provide a little bit of additional information. So I wanted to begin talking a little bit about the W curve. So you see on your screen kind of the ups and downs. The W curve is a model that describes sort of the emotional journey that many students often go through when adjusting to college. And so there are different stages, right? We sort of begin early on with the honeymoon stage, which is when everything kind of feels fresh and exciting. People are excited about, new friends, new opportunities, and things like that. After a few weeks, there tends to be a little bit of that dip in excitement as students may start to feel a little bit overwhelmed by some of the academic adjustments, or, not sure if they're fitting in. And so this can be sometimes a time when students start to doubt, like, oh, did I make the right decision going to college or not? So that's really normal. After that, there tends to be the rise again, the initial adjustment period where students start to find their rhythm. They start to feel a little bit more used to their schedule, more used to the people around, making friends, feeling more comfortable in that new environment. Then there tends to be another little dip where it's called the mental isolation, where sometimes students can feel a little bit disconnected, especially when it comes to like home life and dealing with the changes that they're experiencing as college students. And maybe some things at home have stayed the same. Maybe some things with their high school friends or the friends that they grew up with are different now. And so that can sometimes cause some confusion and some mixed feelings there. And then finally is kind of the acceptance and integration piece where students finally feel like they're kind of settling into college life. They're feeling more confident, connected, and able to balance things. So this is really, where students start to hit their stride a little bit more. So I wanted to highlight these because these are totally normal. It's part of the adjustment process. It's part of the growth process. And so we're just looking out for students to try to support them through this, up and down kind of roller coaster experience that can be that college adjustment. A lot of this you've heard, but we just want to reinforce, please ask for help if you need it. Your scholars have so much resources, so many people around at Dougherty Family College who will consistently be checking in on them. But part of that is them being honest with us about what they're experiencing. We try to tell students like, don't be too cool for school. It's okay to ask for help. Everybody asks for help. And that's something that we really can't emphasize enough. We, again, want to see students prioritizing their schoolwork. It is a lot, it is a lot of academic challenge. Your students can do it, but there's the time and energy and focus that is required to do it. So we certainly encourage them to really step that foot forward. Another piece is just, seeking out those growth opportunities, right? There are a lot of different opportunities that come that are available for students, but sometimes it takes them the extra step to go after those and apply for that job or apply for that internship or some of these other great experiences that students have in college. Waiting for those opportunities to come to you, it might not work out, or those opportunities might not be as many as what they would if you're seeking them out. So definitely seek those out. And then challenge yourself to get stronger. That's something that we are going to work towards empowering scholars on is, really building up your own belief in yourself and, watching you soar as you are able to overcome some of those challenges. Things don't always necessarily get easier, but you get stronger, and that's what makes you, able to tackle on even harder challenges that may come. This slide, really, I'm not going to go too far into depth explaining it, but it just kind of it highlights the importance of the education and why it's so important. It's such an important choice that you and your scholar have made to encourage them to continue their education because they, generally speaking, that increases their salary, their weekly earnings, and it lowers, you can see that unemployment rate really falling the higher amount of education that a student receives. So super important decision that you all have made, and we look forward to seeing the results impact your families. So a few things that you can do as supporters of a student who's starting at DFC: pay attention to those changes in behavior. If you notice differences in the sleep patterns or, if a student's eating or their mood, those can be important signs of stress, and they may be signs that a student needs to ask for help. And so encouraging them to do that is important. Like Angela said, the mental health counseling support is free, so please take advantage of that. We do also have disability resources support. So if a student has had accommodations in high school or maybe thinks that they might need some for college, those are available. So extended time for exams, testing in reduced distraction spaces. We will have somebody during SEP, during our summer enrichment program, who introduces themselves, who works for Disability Resources. So they'll provide your students with more information about how to get the supports that they need. And then just continue providing that positive encouragement. Your support means so much to your scholars. And, you know, just knowing that you have their back, and that, you know, there's a community of people around them to support them, makes a huge difference for sure. Going forward, I did want to highlight this campus ESP family portal. It's brand new at St. Thomas, but it will help families and loved ones stay engaged and focused on your scholar's success while they're at DFC. You sign up, there's a newsletter that gets sent to you as often as you would like it to. So there is a QR code on the page right there you can use to sign up. Just be sure to select to join the Dougherty Family College community and indicate that your scholar is attending the 2-year college. And that will make sure that you're getting the updates and information that we put on there for Dougherty Family College. So this is just a screenshot of what it looks like once you sign up and you sign in. And then this is a look at what the Dougherty Family College page looks like. So you'll get more focused information about Dougherty Family College on that page if you sign up. And then finally, we are starting a new DFC Family and Loved Ones Advisory Group this year. So again, we want to build relationship with the families and loved ones of our scholars. And so this will be an opportunity for you all to give us feedback, you know, talk to us about some of the positives, the challenges that you're facing, so that we can figure out ways to build together a better support network and ways that will benefit our scholars and their families. So scan the QR code if you'd like, if you're interested in joining that group, and we'll get you more information when we begin meeting for those. So with that, I know we're at about 6 o'clock here, so I just would like to thank you all once more. We really appreciate your community with us, and we look forward to meeting your scholars next week. And with that, I will gladly turn it over to our dean for some closing remarks.
You are a member of our Ohana. We are part of your village, and when we work together, your scholars will thrive. So get ready, get ready, get ready for a phenomenal year, and we'll see you next week at SEP.